v.h.s.x? What do you mean?
Alright everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing another forum one because I think this was going to be absolutely hilarious. And it says, when are we going to see changes on the survivors side? Oh man, these kinds of forum posts are always like some of the funniest stuff I've ever read because like it just has no basis in reality. And it's really incredible to see. So let's begin. So it says, Survivor lately has been no fun at all. You get tunnelers right off the rip at 5. You get slugged for the 4K, still in 2025. Killers complained about the anti-tunnel update, and now the tunneling is even worse now. Like, okay. Myers gets here up in no time, leading to instant downs and leave us nothing to work with. Like, so far all I've read was they have a skill issue, and now they have another skill issue with Myers. Survivors aren't having fun and many are leaving the game. What happened to actually listening to your player base? Which I won't deny, there's probably plenty of survivors leaving too, and then that's why they've been trying to add in these like crazy changes, but I think it's just backfiring. They say, look at DVD players on Steam charts. Close to 9K have left the game. I don't know about you, but as a company, you want to keep as many clients and players as you can. But seems like killers only get the upper hand, which they should to a certain extent. If you don't want to update the game, can we just get rid of these toxic players tunneling on purpose for no reason? What? Tunneling on purpose for no reason? I'm like, what? What are we talking about? Slugging for the 4K? Maybe you may need to bring back hatch opening when there are 2 are left. We really need some quality of life change on the survivor side. It takes more survivors to start a match than it does killers. Queue times are horrendous, are horrendous as well. I'm like, why do you think? Why do you think that the queue time on Survivor is so terrible? You know what I mean? Like, they could yap all this types of stuff. Yet you ended off by saying queue times are horrendous now. Like think about that for a second. Why on earth would there be bad queue times for Survivor? Just take a wild guess. Like, why on earth would they be having such a bad queue time on Survivor? You know what I mean? It's really interesting because they cry and complain about strategy that they don't want to go up against. And oh, it's Myers' fault. It's like, what the fuck? Like they realize, like, what's crazy to me is like the main thing they love doing is Shift W works against Myers. Like he's still an M1 with his movement speed. Like his dash is only lethal if you stay in the loop. If you end up running off, he has to walk all the way over. So it's really not that crazy. Ooh, this person says the player count is fine and survivor role is fine too. I play solo queue and have no trouble escaping fairly regularly. The survivors I play against as killers seem to be doing fine too. I have to work pretty hard to have a chance to win in most of my killer matches. The player count always goes down in the months after new chapter releases. There really hasn't been any new major content recently, so the player count means nothing. Where's your data to prove, or rather to show, that survivors are leaving the game? My evening time survivor queues have been getting longer and longer recently, so that would indicate an increasing deficit of killer players, not survivor players. I'd honestly be fine if some survivor players left, because with the queue times right now, if I don't want to wait a long time to play, I had to choose the killer role every time. Interesting. That is very interesting. So this person says, which is just kind of reinforcing what I've been saying for quite a while. But it's good to see that there's other people that are level-headed and going, well, I mean, just like, you know, I do agree that there are survivor players leaving the game, but you know, pointing your fingers at killer is not going to magically solve the problem, and it's not going to, you know, really be proven with reality. And that's the thing. Like, it's like, I think that people get to the conclusion and then they veer off a cliff, and it's like, it's not the killer's fault. Like, it's behavior who is designing the game to be the way that it is for both sides to both find it unenjoyable. That's not the fault of the killer player. So this person says, yeah, Survivor isn't that bad. The main issue with solo queue is that the survivors themselves. Thank you. I've been saying this too. As a solo queue player, it's way more common to encounter a toxic teammate that throws the match or someone that goes next, DCs, AFK. And that's before we get into the personal challenges people might have, like cleanse 5 totems so they don't do gens. People that only join the match to get chased, refuse to touch gens. Yep, I've seen it all, honestly. And that's why I always keep saying that solo queue, the only reason it sucks is because of your teammates really being ass, and it ends up causing a lot of problems. As solo queue survivor, there are main issues, not OP killers of slugging, tunneling, or camping. Thank you. If anyone has any idea how to force players to actually play the game and do gens, I'd love to hear it. But if you can't make people do gens and play out that match, then they that they don't want to do. Exactly. So this person knows, like, it is speaking facts, speaking absolute reality. Like, this is correct. That is 100% true. But for some reason, every time they talk about solo queue, oh, it's the killer, it's the killer. It's like, but did you even take even a second to look at the goddamn HUD? Did you even look at what your teammates are doing? Because if you're looking up at the sky or looking at the grass or look all around the place instead of the screen, then you're gonna have to sit there and really ask yourself, then what is the problem? Because if you're gonna somehow magically say it's the killer without even doing the due diligence of looking at the HUD, looking at the screen, looking at the results, and understanding what the hell is going on in the match, then you're not speaking from a standpoint of reality. You're just trying to, like, you just already have the inherent bias that, oh, I don't like killers because they, they're killing people even though that's their job. So, F them and F everyone. It's like, okay. Let's see. So this one's funny. It says, I still find it funny that fog vials got instantly butchered, and we still know nothing about anything being fixed with them. Even at release, they were still weak compared to other survivor items. Which, mind you, by the way, I say this point every single time fog vials come up. If these items need to be absolutely disgustingly broken for them to even be remotely used, then that tells you a lot about how bad the balancing is for survivor items. But behavior seems dead set to screw survivor players over, yet there's no evidence to prove that. At first, I didn't think it was like that, but it happens over and over again. It's actually confirming that's what it is. I'm like, bro, but there's no evidence for that. This person says, I agree that survival roles need some help. The devs have said this themselves in a stream. The survivors needed something to freshen up the role, and that's why the fog vials are born. And they lasted like 9 days. Yeah, that's like, yeah, they were disgustingly broken. Like, what? It's crazy that people love to just just go, oh, well, they're just nerfing survivor. It's like, but did you even see what the fog vial could do? Same with the anti-tunnel stuff too. I'm like, but these things are exploited. So why are we just miraculously forgetting that? This person says, I agree that survivors need some quality of life improvements. There's a clear disconnect from the community about it. I'm sure better matchmaking will be generally considered a welcomed improvement, but that's not really specific to survivor role, more of a general quality of life update to the game as a whole. Which I'm concerned anytime they label anything quality of life now, considering they directly nerfed killer and called it quality of life. That's wild. With the palette density update, so that I'm a little concerned if they ever bring up something and call it quality of life now, but we'll see what happens. So when it comes to survivor rules, specifically getting some kind of quality of life, some think survivor is perfectly fine. Some agree that something is needed, but the new item wasn't okay. The base game protections weren't okay. I'm curious to know what would be okay. Which this person makes a pretty good point, because they said, unsurprisingly, not a single downloader bothered to offer any response to why you or I are wrong about survivor role not being that bad. It's much easier to anonymously lob bombs than to actually engage in productive discussion. Which I have to agree, anytime you ever bring up, hey, maybe you should, learn how to play the game better. Maybe you should try to understand loops, look at videos, understand maps and spacing, understand how perks work, understand how to counter killer ability, things like that. All that gets thrown out the window. Oh, but they're totally I can't handle it. I'm like, okay, but how else do you expect to play the game? Not every single match is going to go exactly the way you want. So I don't understand this idea of they never want to engage with the idea maybe I could improve. It's always the killer's fault when you see these posts. It's it's the tunneling. It's like, okay, but the survivor role has already been the same exact thing for years. It's very stale. And from my perspective, the only interesting thing about it is the chase itself. So I'm really trying to understand, like, why you, like, them saying, like, well, you could just get better at the game, like, and why that's such a, like, a crazy, oh, you can't say that. I'm like, what? You're not wrong. Like, solo queue is, oh my god, solo queue, oh my god. Like, yeah, okay, your teammates are bad, but that doesn't mean balance the game around solo queue. Like, people like to say, oh, the vast majority play solo queue. No, they don't. Like, there's no evidence to prove that. If anything, we've seen that more people are in Swift than it was solo queue according to behavior stats from worldwide versus Japan. And Japan had the same exact highest escape rate for solo queue and Swift at the same time. So solo queue and Swift, I think both had like at least a 40% in terms of escape rate compared to to North America, when they, I think it had like a 32 or something like that. So the writing's on the wall. Like, you need to get better at playing Survivor and not in, you know, if you want to actually engage with the game. And if you're not having fun with the game, maybe you just aren't enjoying the gameplay loop. Like, maybe, and that's a perfectly fine thing to be, like, to happen, because to be fair, I would say, even from my perspective, it's not that interesting. Like, if I'm spending most of the match on a gen or trying to heal or save somebody, it feels like busy work, and I want to get back into the interesting aspect of being chased. And unfortunately, I can't do that. So I'm like, well, then I'm not going to play it that much, because it just seems so uninteresting. At least with Killer, like, I can switch around, chase what I need to chase. There's more strategy involved. There's things to learn. Like, there's a lot of stuff I can, like, try to use or understand, like, characters' abilities better. Like, I feel like there's a lot more stuff to look at when I play Killer than I'm on Survivor, where I'm like, well, I gotta be on the gen because no one else is. Like, I gotta heal because no one else will. I gotta do this because no one else will. You know what I mean? Because it is solo queue low MMR. So of course, if it's going to just be solo queue with bad teammates, you're just not gonna have fun. Of course, you know what I mean. But that doesn't mean nerf Killer. That doesn't mean, oh, it's the Killer's fault. They keep doing it. Like, no, it's called the game. Like, it's behavior's fault. They made the game uninteresting. They don't want to add in unique things to make it interesting for the gameplay experience. And I've said many times, why not make it like Friday the 13th? Find parts, partition the gen so you can't repair it past a certain point. So then you have to find a part, you put it in, then you can continue repairing it. Things like that. But let's continue. This person says, I'd be happy to explain why I disagree with your post and can try to further explain what others may have disagreed without commenting. The overall tone, okay, whatever. Using your personal game as a way to imply that balance is fine, which shuts down discussion. It's fine to have opinions because of the experiences you have, but others have opinions because of their experiences too, and it's not right to put yours above theirs or theirs above yours. Now, I agree with that. However, people use their anecdotal experience, use it as fact, and 9 times out of 10, it has no basis in reality. You know what I mean? So the fact of the matter is, like, how do you counter tunneling? You're good at chase, right? Like, if you don't go down, they can't get pressure. Or if you take a while to go down, right? Like, you last as long as you can with what you have. That's going to apply way more pressure than just going down in 2 seconds. Like, that's just literally a vastly different thing. Now, if it's solo queue with bad teammates, then that's just bad teammates. So you can't really control that. That's, as the other person even said earlier in the same thread, you can't control that. That's just, if they don't want to do the gen, they're not going to do it. Like, that, there's not really anything you can do about that. So that's how it is. It's about how common the same kind of experiences are that paints a broader picture. Yeah, I agree with that. Mentality of it's fine for me, so it's fine for you is dismissive. It is an accurate representation of the overall state of anything. There are many things in life that individuals don't experience, so it doesn't mean that others don't have those experiences. And it doesn't mean that it's not a problem that they do. That's exactly what I was saying about killer anxiety for quite a while as well. Is that because, like, a handful don't experience it does not mean that it doesn't exist. Like, there's still many accounts of people that go, no, I have experienced that. Like, numerous. So you know, as an example of like, just because like some people don't experience something doesn't mean that there's other people don't. I would agree with that, because of, as an example, killer anxiety is definitely a topic that a lot of people may disagree with. So I do agree with that. However, let's continue. So as on the one hand, you say there's no data proving survivors are leaving, but then you use your own queue times as evidence that killers are in shorter supply. Which I need to figure out if this is the same person that was blaming the killers. Okay, it wasn't. I'm a bit confused. Let's continue reading. So it says, stating if that your finest survivors players leave feels antagonistic and dismissive, especially in discussion about balance. But the thing is that I don't really think it matters if it feels antagonistic and feels dismissive, when we need to take into account that there's some people that do not care about the health of the game. They do not care about the player base. They do not care about the community. They care about their own selfish experience, about what they perceive as fun, disregarding everyone else. It's entitlement at the core, right? So like, I would not care if entitled people who play either side are just not going to play, because at the end of the day, you're not caring about the game's balance. And specifically in this case, survivor players, because they're usually the loudest, and unfortunately they have the bigger impact because of how many people can spam the same rhetoric instead of actually having logical standpoints that have any basis in reality. Saying if you don't really care survivors leave comes from across your perspective isn't in good faith, and the overall of your post sounds like disagreements on the state of survivor are unnecessary, because the survivor role is fine because you're fine, and that they aren't really leaving the game because in your games your queues don't reflect that, and even if survivors are leaving, it wouldn't bother you. So there's some like kernels of truth within this statement, but like I've said, like, I'm pretty sure, at least from my perspective, if there are people that are not like going in with good faith to even discuss these things, because remember, these are the same people that will point out issues with the game and then blame killer, right? Like, we even seen that from the original post. Oh, this is a really good point. They said plugging from 4K can be elegantly fixed by removing the hatch altogether. The hatch race is really annoying for both the survivor and killer. Alternatively, it can be replaced with an option for the killer to spare the last survivor by not by pressing a button without the race. This way the last survivor can still escape if they deserve it, without the need to do the remaining gens. I agree with that. But to touch back on the point earlier, notice that all of this was, I'm not having fun because I'm going against strategy. I'm getting slugged because the killer wants kills in 2025. Like it's condescending already. Then they want to blame killer, and now they're saying the tunneling is worse. So look at that. It's all feelings, anecdotal, no evidence, BS, and then it's saying Myers can tear up and an insta down, which he always could do. Giving us nothing to work with. Like he still moves at 115. Like, he's not gonna fly across the map. Then they go, survivors aren't having fun and may are leaving the game, and it's like, yeah, that's true. But then you're saying your queue times are horrendous. So doesn't that mean that killers are leaving as well? And look at this too. Get rid of the toxic player tunneling on purpose for no reason. Like, when did tunneling be a man? Oh, I forgot, you know, because it's survivors, so they always think tunneling is toxic. So what if we flip it around, right? What if we say, if you don't update the game, we can just get rid of these toxic players gen rushing on purpose for no reason? To them, they would say that's ridiculous. That doesn't exist, right? So it's like, at least like when you read this nonsense and then you scroll down and you see the person going, look, I don't even care if these people leave because this is just BS. Like, and then they go, oh, well, that's antagonistic and dismissive, and you're not in good faith. And it's like, but the person that originally posted this is not in good faith anyway. Top it off with this person as well. They literally said your teammates are the problem. Like, adoy, like, you know what I mean? But no, it's magically dismissive. It's magically antagonistic. It's not a good faith magically. And it's like, do people have no awareness of what the hell's going on in their own match? Like, this is ridiculous. Are we being so for real? Like 9 times out of 10, like you're gonna have a terrible teammate in solo queue. Even if you duo queue, you're gonna have 1 to 2 bozos that don't have any idea what they're doing. You can't control that. That's how the game works. You can't, like, what else can you do about that? So that's my main point. It's like, why is it always magically the killer's fault because they're trying to win their game, yet it's the behavior's fault? Like, why is behavior not being held accountable for this? Why is it that, woe is me, the survivor player, but yet your queue time as survivor is bad? Doesn't that mean that killer players are leaving the game? It's like, it's a lack of awareness. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Consider supporting the channel by becoming a member, or joining the Patreon to have your name out off the end of every video, exclusive content you're not seeing anywhere else. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I wanted to go ahead and thank all my members from Patreon: Crow King 101, YouTube members: Majora Jeff, T.O.N. Dyer, Zero Mocker, Christian, Crow Vader, Noxus, Jack, Dole, a whip. Let's go. Twitch, we also have Cake, Danica, Final Girl Bunny, Zero Mocker, Ginsburg, Zaz, Crow, PB Head, Mr. Mork, and Dole as well. I appreciate all you guys for supporting, and I will see you guys. If you want to become a member, go ahead and join, and I'll see you guys in the next one.